If you're tired of sending proposal after proposal on Upwork without landing any job, or you might have gotten a few responses but with no results, you're in the right place. Today, I'm exposing the 5 biggest mistakes you might be making on Upwork that are holding you back. But don't worry, I'm not here to point fingers. I've got solutions that will turn those mistakes into opportunities. I've driven more than 6 figures in revenue for myself and my clients strictly from Upwork, so I know what I'm talking about. So grab a pen, take some notes, and let's get it. So number 1, a lack of a video introduction. Now, many people are incredibly hesitant to get onto video and just doing something as simple as introducing themselves. They're filled with anxiety, they're not sure what other people will think of them, and they're just overtaken by analysis paralysis. Now, I'll just let you guys know straight up, it's a fact that people are more willing to buy from someone who has a personal brand or who is able to show their face on video as opposed to someone who isn't. Think about all of the purchases that you've made online. All of them have something in common, and it's the fact that you've likely seen and related and identified with a certain person. You've consumed massive amounts of their content, which led to you trusting them more, feeling that you've understood them, empathizing with them, vice versa, and that drove the sale. It's the same thing on Upwork. People would much rather purchase from someone who already has some form of video content, personal content, or is not afraid to show their face and really put their money where their mouths are, as opposed to someone who doesn't. It's so simple in terms of filming a video introduction. It doesn't really require a huge framework. Typically, I would recommend that people do VSLs, video sales letter, but if you aren't as versed in it, simply getting onto video, introducing yourself, talking about your experience, what you've done for others, what you've done for yourself, and what you can do for the prospect themselves will already slingshot you ahead of most of your competition that, doesn't want to do this. And if you're worried about your speech in terms of your accent, etc., not everybody's going to be a native English speaker, and that's fine. What you can't fake and what you can't make up for is simply confidence. That's it. If you have confidence in your ability to deliver results for your client or the prospect, that will show in the video, which is why it's so important. Moving on to number 2. So lack of personalization on cover letters. I'm going to say this once and only once. I've said this multiple times on this channel, but you need to make every cover letter as if it's specifically for that client. That's what makes a really good cover letter, and it translates to any form of outreach, whether it be cold email, LinkedIn, whatever it is. You need to make the prospect think, even if it's not the case, that this message was meant specifically for them and no one else. I've spoken about multiple ways that you can do this specifically on Upwork, so just to go over them, if you struggle with personalizing your cover letters, it's likely because you don't know what to look for when personalizing them. Number 1 would be to look at the job description. Take as much as you can from the job description without regurgitating everything. If the prospect makes mention of a specific software that they've used in the past, piece that out of the job posting, put that in your cover letter. Do as much as you can with the information that's given to you. Another thing that you can do is, if there's not enough information in the job description, then all you'd have to do is go ahead and take from the location. Let's say the client has a very specific location. It says Baltimore or it says Kingston, Jamaica. Say something about Kingston. Many people aren't doing this. It proves to them that you've taken the time out to check their location, see if it aligns, and write something. So the last thing that you can do is check in, and this is a bit of a niche trick, but you can look in the previous engagements that the client had, so previous feedback left by a freelancer that they worked with, and you can take a piece out of that. If it's something specific that the freelancer said about the project, you can take a piece out of that and drop that there as your first line. So multiple ways to go about personalization. These are 3 of my favorite ways. Moving on to number 3 of the biggest mistakes I've seen on Upwork, it's improper job targeting. I kid you not. At the time I'm recording this video, an hour or 2 ago, I got a message on LinkedIn where the person was saying to me that they have applied to multiple jobs on Upwork in the past, but they've seen no results, and many of the jobs were scams when they did apply to them. This is the reality of the online marketplace, guys. You're going to find fraudulent jobs. That's just a fact. So how do you avoid them? How do you apply to jobs that are actually legit? Well, it's a pretty simple method of targeting. So So what I like to do is I don't apply to any job that's in any third or second world countries. So only first world countries. I've said this a lot. United States, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, parts of Western Europe. I don't apply to anywhere else. And it's because I'm from a third world country as well. So I know that there are many fraudulent jobs, or they're simply low quality. They aren't able to pay you what you deserve. Another factor that I use is I only apply to hourly jobs that are $15 plus, or fixed rate jobs that are $300 base and up. So nothing else. I do sometimes apply to no fixed rates. They don't put any rate there. I'll apply to those too, just because oftentimes these people have no idea how much the job actually costs, or how much it actually costs to go about. But yeah, apart from that, nothing else. Just following these things will already kind of make the whole application process much easier. Not even kind of, it will. As time goes on and you send more proposals, you'll start to get a feel for what jobs are scams, what jobs are legit, and how you can go about just doing more volume with them. So mistake number 4, and this one annoys me a lot. So it's the zero portfolio elements. So having nothing in your portfolio. And it's not an excuse. You can't simply say that you've never had a client before, so there's nothing to show for it. People who say this are just lazy. That's all it comes down to, which is why it annoys me. So in the beginning, you only have time. Let's say you don't have a lot of capital because you don't have any clients. All you have is time. So what I tell people to do to build a good portfolio is to actually go in, find who your ideal client is on any platform. Twitter, LinkedIn, it can be Upwork as well, but it's much easier to find them on Twitter and LinkedIn or Instagram, etc. Let's say that you're helping coaches build a brand on Instagram, right? Influencers. Why not reach out to those influencers and then not pitch them on your service, but create work for them, strategies, edit some videos for them completely free and unprompted, and then encourage them to use it. Best case scenario, they work with you because they like what it is that you do. Worst case scenario, you can use that work that you've done for them and put it in your portfolio on Upwork, or post it on Twitter, post it on LinkedIn, etc. And now you have yet another, if not your first, it's yet another form of social proof, which allows more people to trust you. People will trust you more if you have more work to show for it. It's just a fact. So stop being lazy. Go out there, do free work if you have to. Fill your portfolio. More people will trust you, which will lead to more clients. Simple. Now, number 5 and the very last mistake that I also hate to see, because there's no excuse for this, just giving up too early. It took me over 300 proposals to sign my first client on Upwork. 300 proposals. I'm not talking about 30, not 50, not even 100. 300. And that very first deal was just $600. Of course, that was life-changing money, because even if you just earn $1 online, it then instills you with the fact that, hey, I can do this over and over again. So it's fine. But just think about it. I had to send that many to get my first job, but you want to quit 5 days in. There's no point to that. It just doesn't work, and you won't be rewarded for that. So if you had to get one takeaway from this video, one high-level takeaway, and you've heard it so many times, but the number one thing, literally do not give up after 10, 12, 13, however many amount of days there are. Don't give up. It's cliched advice, but I'm telling you straight from experience. It took me 300 proposals. If you don't get a job after your first 50, it's not the end of the world, and it doesn't mean you suck. It just means you either need more reps or you need a change in strategy. That's all it boils down to. So guys, if you found these 5 mistakes and the solutions to them helpful, then feel free to subscribe, like, and comment to push the video further. And if you're an B2B or marketing agency owner that's looking to add an additional 5 to 10 qualified leads per month using Upwork, then click the link in my description to my website and let's talk. All right, guys, take care.